I hope you like the color red. We're developing some pictures today.
Let me introduce you to Ye Old Printer. Basically, this is called an enlarger. Back before you had digital files that you could send to a printer and it would electronically laser or ink print it, you basically had to project the little film onto big film paper, and that would create an image. Basically, you can insert your film into this little plate here that's stuck between two pieces of glass, and that'll hold it in while you project it. There's this basically a little camera here that you can adjust the aperture, the focus, and then that'll project it onto this base plate below.
First things first, we got our chemicals. We got dev, we got stop, and we got fix.
You got the dev, you got the stop, and you got the fix. Basically, the dev you can think of as the dye. We'll come back to the stop later. And the fix, as the name implies, fixes the film in place, and so it doesn't change later.
Lucky for me, they are pretty much all done. They just are in a concentrated form, like a frozen lemonade you buy in a can. So what we gotta do is we gotta dilute this with water. I got my cheat sheet right here. We got our dev, which is 14:1. That works out, if we want to make a liter, to 66.6 to 932. We got our stop, which is a bit easier, 50 to 950. Fix, which is 100 to 900. And we got our times here. We got 1:30 around in dev, 10 seconds in stop, a minute in fix. And then we got to wash it off with some water. One. Now we got all of our trays. There's a few controls I can adjust. First is the aperture. It changes how bright the surface is. So if you want to have more control, you want to turn this down quite low and then expose it for longer. But if you want to do it quick, you just turn it right up. And there's also so much more. I don't know about this, but basically I'm going to have it maybe on a medium setting. I can also raise and lower it and also focus this. There's also this red filter that goes over top. If I do this, it's like the red light. Basically, this won't expose the paper. So you can either expose the paper like this, having the red filter, opening it up quick, and closing it quick, or it's got this kind of sturdy rocker switch on it, which kind of instantly, which is what I'm going to do, turns it on and off. So that's the basics of it. Looking here, we have this thing, which is like a little scope. And basically this is used to focus your image.
When I first used this focuser, I thought we were going to be looking for some straight edge or line that's blurry and making it focused. But that's actually not the case. Basically what we're trying to do is start with a purely blank blurry photo and then turn that into seeing the individual grains of film.
So right now we're looking down the barrel of this scope. And you can see in the background it's not very, oh, we just got some. Here we go. And now she's focused. Now it's completely focused. So with that, we can take this away, and now we got our image nice and focused. Well, here's our first photo. Here's one in the Rocky Mountains on a gondola. You can see the lines here. So let's get started. We're going to be using Ilford RC paper right here. This is black and white paper. I think color is a whole other beast. You need to have a special light that's not just red, because red is a color and it develops all the colors. So this is just black and white. You'll notice that red doesn't really affect it, which is why it's safe to use this light. Now I can see everything. Basically, if you look at old black and white movies, I think if they wore like a red lipstick or something, it'd be completely black almost, because the red doesn't actually expose in the black and white. So if we open up this box right here, it's actually double bagged. So this is a completely dark bag. We're going to take a piece of paper out and we're going to start to work with it. Basically, I'm going to first be doing a small test strip. This will let me see what the exposure is, see the exact timing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a full picture out and develop that. So now I got this little blackout piece of paper right here. I'm going to block out the light intermittently with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I've exposed the paper. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start putting it into each. So again, we've got to look at our times here. 1:30 in the dev, 10 seconds in the stop, 1 minute in the fix, then rinse it off. I've even got my old analog watch because I don't want any lights in here. So what you want to do, at each step you want to kind of quickly slide it into the liquid so it starts at an even time on each side. And what we're going to want to do is we kind of recorded when we had each talking point, and we're going to see how developed each part is. It's kind of hard to see in the red light too, so you gotta take it out in the regular light afterwards and see what it looks like. But yeah, basically, let's get going. So let's get my time. Let's do it. So we're submerged. Sometimes the paper, especially when it's bigger, it's not actually doing that right now, but when it's bigger, it kind of wants to curl out of the liquid. So in the 1 or 2 attempts that I've done before this, it's usually best to kind of keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't do that. But you can kind of see right now that I just exposed the edge of the film, so it's not going to give us very good stuff. But basically we want to just see how long it takes, and then you want to, yeah, well, see how long it takes, take it out, and we'll see how it looks. So that's been a minute so far. You can actually see right here, because I got the edge of the film, the parts with holes in it are completely black. So that's not actually a very good look at what we're looking at. What we kind of want instead is like the in-between color. And then we stick it in here for 10 seconds. I'm trying not to mix my tongs a bit. That's been 10 seconds. This is really just to kind of stop, I think, the basicness or the acidity of that before putting it in the fix. And now it's in here. We're going to fix this. So basically, it's in there. Now it's time to rinse it off. Now I've kind of impressed myself here. I've somehow managed to mess up a test strip. Turn the lights on here. You can kind of get a good look at it. Basically, I've caught the edge of it. So this is not, like, what I would really like to see here is like some details, like trees, mountains, anything. And that can give me a kind of relative view of what I'm looking at. So what, I'm not gonna waste another test strip. I'm gonna go for it. But before we do, we'll kind of take a look. Basically, we got gray, darkest gray. And basically, let's take a look at the actual image itself. So looking at the image, it was probably just like that. You can see my test strip here, and you can see where it lines up on this image. So basically, if we turn the lights back on now, so let's keep a mental image. So this part right here is probably actually one of the darkest spots. Like, can see the ground here. You can see the trees are the same color. So we probably want this pretty damn black. Like, I'd say we go for 5 or 6 seconds, which is the maximum we did. So let's try it out. All right, I got to turn my red light off here to turn on this one, which has a red light filter on it. So if I do that, we can see that it's not aligned. I want to get this tree in here. I want to get these lines in here. But they don't have to be fully in. Like, we can have some lines cutting off the edge, the tree cutting off. But we still get this whole thing. I do want a lot of the sky, though. So we do that. Now, we can turn this off again. Do this. Do this. And let's expose it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So now that was 5.5 seconds, which we had before. So now let's do the same thing. So we'll get our timer on the clock. Let's do it. So we're in at 45 seconds on the clock. So we'll go to 15 seconds on the clock. That'll be 1:30. And let's make sure that this is fully submerged this whole time. In a second, we'll probably start to see some image forming. Hopefully. Please. Oh, I'm starting to see it. That's good. It gives you a bit of suspense. It doesn't actually start doing anything for a good 30 seconds. We're about halfway through our time right now. You can really start to see the image forming right now. Got the lines, we got the tree. Let's hope we did it to a good level. Now, things look very dark, I find, when they're in the red light. Like, I almost want to take them out too early because they look too developed. But I would recommend really waiting for the recommended 1:30. And then we'll rip it out. Put it in this stop, which is right now. Because you want 10 seconds to let it drain a bit. Then you slip it in for 10 seconds. I don't know if this actually matters too much how long you do it. I think it's really just to stop the things. But now I gotta take it out quick and put it in here. There we go. Now, what was the time? It was 35 seconds, so maybe a bit too long. But now we gotta wait another minute, then we'll wash it off, and we'll have ourselves an image.
But what's actually happening at the lowest level? When light hits individual silver halide crystals, little beads of silver metal form, and they're very dark. Putting this inside of Dev accelerates this growth and turns the silver beads bigger and visible. Then, putting it in Fix removes the undeveloped crystals, meaning that when we take it out in the light, more silver doesn't form.
And just like that, image number 1. I think it turned out pretty damn great. It's definitely in focus. Maybe a smidge underexposed, like this bottom could probably be completely black rather than a dark gray. But I think it comes through pretty nice. One thing I guess I should mention is that this is a negative film, and the paper is also negative. So if you ever wondered why film is negative, it's because it doesn't actually matter when we used to print on negative paper as well. 2 negatives make a positive, so you get the positive final image anyway. So yeah, this is one of my favorite pictures. It's got a train tracks and mountains in the background. So let's learn our lesson and really expose it for longer to get some dark darks in this picture. So let's get going again. We're basically going to make sure we have the filter on again, center this image, and do the same thing again. what do we want? We want the tracks, and we want the trees. And I think that's pretty good. So what we're gonna do is another count to 5. Well, actually, I just caught myself. Not a count to 5. We want to count to like 7, maybe 8. We'll do 8. We'll go crazy. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now that we got that really dark, let's do the same thing again. Yeah, here it goes. We got our track, we got our river starting to come through. So we're almost done this part. All right, here goes. Put it in the stop quickly, and then we put it in the fix. What time are we at? We're at 30 seconds. So once again, we leave it in for a minute, and then that's it. Ow! Now that's really turned out, really. To spice things up for the last one, I'm gonna do 4 at once. So I'm gonna use a quarter-sized one. Since I haven't done it really yet in this episode, I'm gonna lower this down to a smaller size and refocus it. While I roll the images, I just want to say thanks for watching the first non-blacksmithing video. If you couldn't tell by now, this is not a blacksmithing channel. This is a Sam does random things that he finds interesting channel. So we'll get some more blacksmithing going, but we'll also get some other completely random things. If you made it to the end of this 20-minute video of me yapping, maybe you toss me a like. I'd always appreciate it.
And thanks for watching.